So, hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I'm sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat, and Andrea Braxton. Of course, you guys see an extra person on here, and we're going to get into it as to why she's here in just a couple of minutes. But I want to say thank you to YouTube and Facebook for being the other side of the conversation. Also, like to thank Marcus Guyton for everything that he does behind the scenes in making the show go further. And we would ask you if you could share this live so everybody else can see it and get the very important information that will go forth here. And I know that we usually read you guys' comments, but for the first 30 minutes or so, we won't be able to do that. We'll take a few, but we won't be able to read them all just really for the sake of time. So again, I'll repeat that because I know it's kind of early in the cast. But before we get into it, Donovan, what say you?
Hey, you guys, welcome to Free Flow Friday with Demetra K and Donovan Sadiq. And I want to thank our special guest today, Andrea Braxton, who took the time out to come share with us her story of what happened with her. But I just want to tell everybody out there that, and you're going to hear in this story, very, very problematic within our community and within the law enforcement agencies in general and the law system in general. Big ups to Ms. Braxton for basically fighting and continuing to fight for her child. And that's the thing we've got to start doing. We got to start making these people do their damn jobs. Justice has to be done one way or the other. If it takes 50 years, if it takes 100 years, big ups to these moms out here and these dads out here who are fighting for the justice for their children first versus the money. So I want to say that.
All right, so again, we're getting more people on here. If you guys can share this live so everybody can get the information, join in on the conversation, we'd greatly appreciate it. So as you guys know, we have Miss Andrea Braxton here today, and she is going to fill us in on her very unfortunate story of her daughter, Amiya Braxton, who was killed October 4th, 2016, as her and her brother were exiting a school bus. Now, a woman by the name of Karen Carpenter ran the stop sign. So you guys, we've all seen it. When a bus comes to a stop, a school bus, they put the little stop sign out and you were supposed to stop a significant, distance away from it. Well, she did not stop. She being Karen Carpenter, and correct me if I'm wrong in any part of the story. She did not stop. And in fact, she ran into Amiya, and Amiya ended up under her car in Amiya's own driveway. And she, perished due to that. But the really unfortunate, well, the other unfortunate part, I should say, is that Karen Carpenter was not even arrested. Now, she was taken to the police station for questioning, but she was never arrested, never charged. They tried to indict her twice, but that was to no avail. A grand jury didn't see the need to do that. And so from this point, Karen Carpenter is free from any type of justice. Now, prior to that, and there was a little boy by the name of Nathan, correct me again if I'm wrong, who was also killed under the same circumstances, and they created Nathan's Law. And this is in Pontotoc, Mississippi. This is where it happened. Pontotoc, Mississippi, where Nathan was killed. And they made a law called Nathan's Law, which says that if you do not stop 10 feet before the stop sign, you could face a misdemeanor. And then, of course, if you run it and somebody is killed or injured, you can be charged as a felon, rather. And so that law was made for him. And then in between that, Amiya was killed by Karen Carpenter, no justice. And after that, another little boy, and they were both white, was killed, and he did get justice. And so from what I understand, they're kind of likening this to a cold case because nothing, when I say nothing, no justice has gone forth. And so, Miss Braxton, please fill us in. I know I kind of just gave the little bit of it, but fill us in from what you understand happened, and so everybody else can know. And then also, I want to get the information from you so we can share it if there's a petition or something out there that needs to be signed. So.
Yes, so I thank you so I thank you all so much for having me. This has been a pleasure and honor. Before I get started, I'd like to say thank you, Black Lives Matter. Thank you, Speak Easy. Thank you to my publicist, Mr. Warner Graves, who's absolutely dynamic. And all the brothers and sisters, Mr. Peter Brown, street groomers, everybody who is taking part in this movement. This is truly a movement. One correction that I would like to make is Mr. Nathan was from Jackson, Mississippi. He was about 4 hours away.
Really quick, we're having a little bit of a you're kind of like going in and out, so we're kind of having a hard time hearing. So I don't know. It wasn't doing that before.
Okay.
I think that's better. So go ahead.
So Mr. Nathan, he was from Jackson, Mississippi. His mother is Miss Lori, and she got this law passed for our children. So we wouldn't have to be a victim of such a thing that I'm a victim of now. Her son was able to get justice, but she fought for a very long time. And so between 2011 and 2013, she was able to get Nathan law passed. And so I'm very grateful because that just showed that somebody tried to make a difference.
It's still
is it like,
yes.
Yeah. Do you have your phone on or something like that? Do you have a radio or something on?
No, I'm on my laptop.
Okay.
And the phone is not on either, as far as nothing. No.
It's not on. I don't know. It's probably the background. This is a big room with nothing in it.
We hear you fine right now.
Okay. Well, maybe I need to sit like this right here, so I get like this. No. Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. So is this better?
Better.
Okay. So on October the 4th, 2016, my daughter Amiya and her brother Matt Braxton were getting off the school bus. I was in the house. I was asleep. I had been doing. I was selling insurance at the time. I was having a very stressful day, and so I was like, I'm gonna leave the door open like they normally do. They could just walk right in. I was never a neglectful person.
You know what? I hate to keep interrupting you, but it's still doing it. Is there something open on your laptop? Perhaps maybe some other windows? Or maybe because it seems like it does okay when you sit back. I don't know.
Yeah, try to sit back.
Okay,
and and you know, I kind of talk fast too, because what it is trying to catch up to you. So just kind of talk in a steady. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Let's see if that works.
Okay. I get worked up about this. Okay, I'm sorry. So is it okay? Is it okay? You guys hear me? Okay, so on October the 4th. Okay, so how about this? How about I put it on my phone and try to put my Bluetooth?
Let's try that.
Yes, try your phone. Try your phone. We'll wait for you. Take your time. Try your phone because we want people to hear the story. Yeah, so you guys, y'all know it's live and in living color, and issues happen, but she's gonna try her phone and see if that works. But this is a very important story that needs to go forth, and so thank y'all for bearing with us. If y'all could share it, so that everybody else can get the information, because until it was brought to me, I never even heard of Amiya's story, and so I know a lot of you guys probably haven't heard of it either. So if you guys could please share it, we would love you and dance at your wedding.
Yes, please. And in the meantime, I don't know if you guys listened to President Joe Biden. He was talking about the infrastructure bill and all this other stuff. And by the way, the congressional Democrats are still on vacation. So, even though we have all these problems in the country, they could just go on vacation. And the black ones were the first ones to leave. So just want to bring that out. But in his speech about the infrastructure bill and the jobs report, I love the way they play these numbers, because the jobs report basically was people that are being rehired from the jobs that they didn't have. So, you guys go ahead and dance and celebrate for accounting numbers and accounting tricks. But basically, I want you guys to make sure you understand, go back and listen to what Joe Biden said. He said the infrastructure bill is going to bring good jobs, good paying jobs for blue collar workers, union jobs. Isn't there a problem with black people getting into unions in this country? And then how many black people actually have vocational training in those skills? This is nothing but trillions of your tax dollars being black people and people of color that is going into the pockets of these white people who keep black people out of unions. And again, they took vocation training out of the high schools. I don't know, to be a day laborer, you know what that is? That's just picking up garbage and stuff around the construction site. You're not a skilled person. So she's back now. Let's see what we got.
Okay, can you guys hear me now? Okay. Okay, so let me start again. My name is Andrea Braxton. Like this. Okay, so can y'all hear me?
Yeah, he wanted to switch you. Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay. Okay, so on October the 4th, 2016, Amiya and her 10-year-old brother at the time, it was a day after his birthday, 8 days before her birthday. We're getting off a school bus. I was in the house asleep. I had made preparations for my husband to pick up our youngest baby from the daycare. And so my phone is going off. I was at home. I was just chilling out, just having a me day. I'm not ashamed to admit, but that day that I did have a drink, I was doing my work. I was at home. And the reason why I point that out is because of what was said about me and how people looked down on me and said that I had just let her play in the street, which we will talk about a little later on. But so my phone is going off. It's going crazy. It's my husband. He's hysterical. He asked me where I was. I said, I told you I was going to be at home. I'm not going anywhere. I told you I was going to drink a little bit today and that I didn't want to get on the highway. So that's why I asked you to pick up our youngest son. He was like, well, people have been calling me, telling me that Amiya was hit by a car. And I said, no. I said, you must be mistaken. I said, first of all, it's not even time for Amiya to get out of school. And then I said, and plus, she didn't have a field trip that day. I said, so that's impossible. So he was telling me, he was like, no, you need to get up. You need to get up and you need to go and see it. And I was like, okay. And when I opened up my blinds, it was this thing that I will never forget. Every time I see ambulances or fire trucks or police, it takes me back to that moment. Amiya was already in the ambulance. And I thank God that I didn't per se have to witness her mangled little body the way that they said it was. Just give me a second. For a long time, as a mom, I thought to myself, I said, well, maybe, I shouldn't have had that drink that day. Maybe I should have been standing at the door watching for her. So, I had a lot of guilt, even myself, in that. But to be honest with you, now in hindsight, I think about what it's probably a good thing that I had that drink that day. It's probably a good thing that I didn't witness that. But my 10-year-old son, however, again, a day after his birthday was October 3rd. We had just had him a party. Him and Amiya played. The youngest brother, they ran around like the whole family had got together. And that's something that the family don't normally do unless it was around the 4th of July. But everybody got together, and we were planning to have Amiya's birthday party the next week. And so little did we know that was the last time that everybody would get to see her, who came to the party for my oldest son. So I go outside and I hear people screaming, there's the mother, there's the mother. And the superintendent, he runs up to me and he says, there's been a problem with Amiya. And I said, well, what happened? So he hands me her bloody backpack and he says she's been in an accident. And then I said, where is she? And he said, she's in the ambulance. And then I said, is she alive? And then she said, Miss Braxton is not looking good. And I got into the ambulance. I left my 10-year-old with our neighbors, and I went to the hospital with Amiya. My husband got to me as quick as he could, and we later found out that she had died because the injuries were so severe. While we're at the hospital, it's so chaotic because you have people. So I'm at the hospital, and then Then the story comes on the news. The story comes on the news about Amiya. They didn't say her name. But I'm at the hospital and I'm hearing this. And then I guess some people just figured it was us because people just start watching us, you know, at the hospital. But no law enforcement came to the hospital. The district attorney didn't come to the hospital. The sheriff didn't come to the hospital. Nobody came to the hospital. It was just me and my family. When we left, nobody came that night. Nobody reached out to us. So we had to go home knowing that our daughter died because somebody was irresponsible. The next morning, I got up and I walked out to the driveway, and pieces of tissue and her teeth I picked up and I had to put in the garbage can. And I was like, it's very evident that the sheriff is not going to come to us. So I guess we need to go down to the sheriff's department and find out what happened. And so that's when things really started rolling and we kind of figured maybe something wasn't right. So I would like to show you guys this. This is what, if you can see this, this is the police report that I got the very next day, okay? If you see, this right here is the police report that they gave me. If you look at this diagram is a lie. This police report is not true. This is not how the accident happened at all. This is a bald-faced lie. This has Amiya in the street, and it has her walking in front of the bus. It has Karen Carpenter coming from a whole nother direction. This is a false police report that they gave me a day after my baby died, a day after. These people went into absolute cover-up mode from the time that it happened. This police report is why I was not able to get an indictment, because this is what they took into the grand jury room. And this is why for so many years, for about 3 or 4 years, we have people saying, well, she shouldn't have been in the street, or why was she in the street? Where was her parents at? You know, it's an accident. But I never could understand it until, again, I took a real good look at this police report. And I was like, well, this answers a lot of the questions of why people are saying that I did something wrong. Amiya was not in the street. Amiya was in her driveway, in her yard, doing what a child does. Yes, thank you so much. So if you see that, that is not the way the accident happened. That's not the accident. It shows Karen Carter coming from a whole nother direction. It shows the bus in a whole nother place. It shows Amiya in the street. And that is not how that happened. Amiya was in her yard, and we have pictures to prove it. And also, my son, who is 10 years old, who's old enough to know right from wrong, also said, Mama, we never had to cross the street. Even he said, I don't know why they saying that. He said, because Amiya never crossed the street. He said, we literally just got off the bus and walked in the house. But the ironic thing is that the sheriff's department instantly went into cover-up mode. And then you have so many players that we find out now, like on the police report. Chris Patterson took the statement. Chief Joel Spellers took the statement, but why are they even there? It makes no sense for them to even be on the same police. It makes no sense. So I pretty much know it's a cover-up. So what ended up happening was the district attorney never reached out to us. I tried for 3 years. Well, let me back up. I called to the district attorney's office to see if there's anything that I could do, to see if they had anything on the case, see if they were doing anything. And they never would call me back. For the first year and a couple of months, I never even knew who my district attorney was. I never even knew their name. I didn't even know his face. I didn't know the assistant district attorney's face. Nobody would reach out to us. I tried several times. I even called the senator and said, what is going on? Why won't the district attorney respond to us? And he asked me, well, what do you want me to do about it, Miss Braxton? I want you to make them do their damn jobs because that's what we pay them to do. My tax money, without my consent, goes directly to them. I don't ask to pay them taxes. Pay them taxes for what? They don't do nothing in that particular time, so they don't deserve none of my money. However, they never reach out to us. So after we came back with the first no true bill, I demanded a meeting. And I said, if I don't get my meeting, then we're going to tear the town up. Because now I gave you the opportunity to do what's right. You don't even have you don't even want to meet with me. You don't want to have no dealings with me. And I'm her mom. We are her family. We are the one, but you had nothing to say to us, nothing. So it was such an uproar. So they gave me a meeting. So we go into this room. For the first time, I lay eyes on the district attorney. I lay eyes on his assistant. It's about 5 people in the room. Well, the sheriff apparently had forgot that he had let us know that somebody from the district attorney's office called on scene and said, do not arrest her, take her to the station. When confronted in the room, everybody's in there, the district attorney's in there, his assistant's in there. I said, well, according to the sheriff right here, he says that somebody called from your office and said, don't arrest Miss Karen Carpenter. He said, well, that's a lie. He said, well, who called from my office? And then the room got silent. Nobody could say anything. So then I was kind of like, yeah, well, this right here is going to be a fight right here because I can tell how they are playing against each other, how they throwing each other under the bus. So it's a he say, she say, I got the power, but I'm not going to do it kind of thing. And he goes into this grand jury room with people who don't know the law, who haven't took the time to study, who haven't went to school, and then you show them this garbage, you show them this lie, and then they come back with they can't do anything. Nathan Law says you cannot go 10 feet within the stop school bus, willingly or unwillingly. But they only want to give me the first 2 paragraphs when it talks about it's talking about stuff like accidental and all those terms, but they won't tell me, or they're not talking about you go down a couple paragraphs and they talk about overtaking the bus. So the question that I said was, John Weddle, only question that should have been asked in that room is which charge are we going to charge her with? I mean, which charge are we going to give her? That should have been the only conversation that should have been had. But if I'm a grand jury, I'm going to ask these type of questions. Well, if she hit and killed her, then why come you never gave her a ticket? A lot of people don't know, but she never even got a ticket. She didn't get a fine. She didn't get anything. Nothing. She was taken to a station. They said they took her to a hospital for toxicology. But that was it. I didn't hear anything else for months until we kept pursuing it. But the district attorney, he did a piss poor job. He really did. He went in there and intentionally. And how I know it's intentionally because you have the same photographs that I just recovered. So you intentionally went in there with these people who is not equipped because you didn't explain the law to them. And you hindered the investigation and you misled the jury. And that's exactly what you did. Based off of this police report, I really shouldn't have to prove anything else. There's really nothing else to say because I can prove where you literally made up a crime scene and you shared it with somebody who's going to give my baby justice. And you didn't give it 100%. You didn't do really any investigation. You didn't do anything from the moment that my daughter was killed and she was trapped under that car. On one of the statements, it said Karen Carpenter hit her so hard. She went in the car, came out and under the car, and was pinned part of the waist. How do you pin somebody between your axles like that and half their body is off and up under the car? She mangled her little body. She was only 7 years old, couldn't get ready in time. She mangled her body. And then she gets up to go to work the next morning. Like she just didn't take somebody's life. And you let this murderer get away, and you do absolutely nothing about it. So for 5 years, we were calling, trying to get paperwork. We were asking, can we have a special prosecutor? Can we hire our own lawyers? They said no. They said we had to use the district attorney. We could not use anybody else. We couldn't even go in there and give a victim impact statement to the grand jury. They took this to the grand jury a couple of times. A couple of times I didn't even know anything about. Like they didn't even let us know. And that's what happened. They kept everything for 5 years, and they won't let me have anything but this police report. That is all I had. Finally, some people got involved, and I'm so grateful for like people like Black Lives Matter. I'm so grateful for street groomers. I'm so grateful for you guys, and everybody who has let me use their platform to talk about Amiya, because this is something that needs to be talked about. My daughter was killed, but there's a lot of other injustices that people face too. But let's back up and talk about the other fatalities.
Well, let me ask you a question really quick before you go to that. So a couple of people are asking about a toxicology report, but I know from just listening to other interviews, it sounds like Karen Carpenter kind of admitted to falling asleep behind the wheel. Is that true?
Yeah, so she said she's not sure if she dozed off, but she looked down at her dad. So you prove by your own words that you were negligent and that you were reckless. When she said that she looked down and she wasn't paying attention, I don't know how there could be another question about what the officers need to do. She very well admits that she was negligent by her own words. This is her statement. This is what she told you. This is nothing that you had to investigate. This is nothing that you had to wait for paperwork for. She blatantly told you, I don't know what I was doing. Only thing I know is I was looking down. How long was she looking down?
Right. A quick question, Demetra, and maybe Ms. Braxton as well. Isn't it a fact that when you even apply to get a driver's license, you have the obligation to look out for pedestrians in the street? Even if the pedestrian jumped out there at the last minute, you are still liable as the driver of a vehicle to look out for pedestrians and be that. Not saying that, you're totally liable, but you're basically supposed to be responsible enough to look out for pedestrians. That's why when you go into a supermarket and in the shopping areas and stuff like that, even if you're just on a regular street, just like in Amiya's case, I'm the driver of the vehicle. I could kill somebody with this vehicle. You are supposed to be cognizant of what is going on within that vehicle. Isn't that part of the rules of when you're driving and you get issued a driver's license? So just based on that, the law, and I'm just saying, I'm not saying this is the least they should get, but in a situation where it was a total accident and there was nothing the driver can do, you would be charged with at least involuntary manslaughter. At least involuntary manslaughter. And this lady was charged with nothing?
You would think so. And Andrew, I also want to ask you, if you guys that just came on here, we're talking to Andrea Braxton. Her daughter Amiya was killed by a woman who ran a stop sign that was attached to a school bus. So you guys know you're not supposed to do that. And she's gotten away with it. No charges, arrests, escaped 2 indictments, and she's, free to live her life. And so we're bringing awareness to this case. And so if you guys haven't already, if you can please share this so that everybody else can get the information, we would greatly appreciate it. But Andrew, I want to ask you before you get on to the part of the other person that was, I guess, killed in something similar like this. Do you smell a cover up? And if so, why? Why do you think they're going to such? Because to me, it seems like there's some sort of a cover up. So do you smell a cover up? And then if so, why? What do you think is really going on there?
I absolutely smell a cover up. They cover it up from the minute that my child was killed, from the minute they were called to the scene. The police report. Also, let me tell you guys this. This is something that we just released. So for 5 years, I have not been able to get any documents. So I got a hold of somebody who says, who they know that they can't intimidate, who they absolutely know has more rank than them, more power than them, who can get whatever needs to be done. So this right here is one of the documents. So they thought that I was going to come on a Thursday. Okay. They did not know that I was already on my way down to Mississippi. So they thought I was going to come in the next week. No, I was already there. I got a call, said, hey, you can come get the paperwork. This right here is what's in the paperwork. Do you see this right here? This right here is the information from the black box of her car. Okay? This right here is the actual reading to tell you how fast that she was going. It looks like they put a post-it over it and made a copy. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No, actually, you can actually see that. It's a
Yeah.
post sticky. You can actually see a post sticky.
Yeah, this right here came from them. This came from them, what they gave me as part of her case file. I've been waiting 5 years, and this is all I can have. I still don't get the truth. What do, so what am I supposed to think? What am I supposed to believe? I mean, I don't know what else to do, so you make a false police report. And then you give me blocked out, whited out information. So if it's not a cover up, then what is it? Are you just that evil? Is she kin to somebody? Is she sleeping with somebody? What's going on? Because that was a slap in my face when I saw that. And I was like, ain't no way that they trying to play me. Like, this is an accident. No way that, and then look at the very top. It's a certified report, is what they say. So this is a certified report, but the information that I need is whited out on.
Yeah, a certified report doesn't have anything whited out, especially if it's given to the people in the case. You get to see discovery of everything that they have. This is a whatever this is not a certified report if it looks like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And nobody knows what Karen Carpenter did to me and my family. So I made it all the way to Reverend Jesse Jackson, and I spoke my piece. And when I got home, people were so angry with me in that county. It wasn't just white people. It was us too. I got rejection from us. I took rejection from my family, older family members. People were saying, oh, you shouldn't let it go, or that N-word ain't going to come down here and do nothing in our town. And, you know, people were telling me, you need to get out. You better get out now because people are upset with you. I was working with somebody, they got up and quit in the middle of the shift. She said, I'm terrified to be in the same room with you. And she left me there. And I was there by myself. And I was afraid. I can't tell you how many nights that I didn't sleep because I'm up watching I'm trying to look out the windows. I'm trying to take my child to daycare in the morning, and I'm looking up under the car. And checking every 5 minutes to make sure everybody okay, if I have to go to town or if I have to go to work. And it just became so much to where I just had to get out. I had to get out. And rightfully so, because if you cover up a crime like this, you can make a whole family disappear and nobody's going to question it. Because look what you done got away from. You know what I'm saying? So I most definitely looked out for my family, and I'm so grateful for the Rainbow Push, but they helped us and they relocated us, and I'm very grateful for that. However, I'm in this place now. Everything is so expensive. Like, it's really hard. You know what I'm saying? It's hard. I have to work extra hard. I have to go without things just so we can make rent and pay car and insurance. People really don't understand how much she inconvenienced me. She can't understand what she took from me. She took my livelihood. She took my daughter. She took my husband's only biological daughter. Her 10-year-old brother had to watch this. He saw this. She took so much from me. But I'm sitting here every month trying to figure out how to get it done. But she goes on with her life. Nobody has been made to pay the cost for this. Nobody has been held accountable for this. And that's the part that really irritates me. Why come it just couldn't have been as simple as how you did for Mr. Thomas? Mr. Thomas was killed 18 months later. He was struck getting on his school bus. It was early in the morning. And the driver decided to go around the school bus thinking it was a tractor. He was hit and killed. I'm sorry about that, y'all. Hold on. High notifications. I apologize for that. Something's popping up. And so the moment that he was killed, the district attorney who handled the Amiya case handled his case too. He did everything in his power to make sure that he got justice. He did everything in his power to take care of their family. They got justice for their child. But where's Amiya's justice at? and this is the same district attorney. He was charged under the same law that Karen Carpenter should have been charged under. So I can't understand what's the difference. And I'm about tired of hearing people say that it's not a racial issue because it damn well is a racial issue. I don't see another way for it not to be a racial issue. I mean, how does every white child get justice, but the one black child that was killed first don't get anything, and you have the same players that's in two of them? So tell me, how is it not racist? Tell me the motivation behind it.
Well, I'm reading about the case, and I want to also say a big thank you to Anastasia, I hope I'm saying that right, doctor. She actually brought this case to me, and she's been very instrumental in bringing a few cases to me. So I want to say thank you for bringing the case and the information so that we can get the word out and bring more awareness to it. But, when I was reading this case, the case of Amiya, I was like, what else could it be? What else could it be that two white boys, got justice? Hers is right in the middle. So it wasn't like they got justice before and then, okay, here her situation comes along as one, her, and then another. They get justice. But what also came to mind is it's Mississippi. The infamous case of Emmett Till. Mississippi
burning.
Right
Mississippi
now,
burning.
There's a white woman right now, Carolyn Bryant, who lied on him and is still have not been brought to justice. And that was a cover up. She was, related to different people within the case. And, it was just a big giant cover up. And still to this day, she hasn't been brought to justice. And so, I think of it being, I know they call it the dirty South. Forgive me if that's a negative connotation, but it's the deep South. And even in today's time, I know that's 2016, they're not interested in bringing white people to justice.
They don't even want to talk racial, what is that called? The politics, when they want to teach racial
race theory.
Race theory.
Yeah. But so it's I don't want to use the word hopeless. It's disgusting because it's so blatant. It's so blatant. And it's for them to try to, dismiss that race had anything to do with it. It's like, you tell me what it is. Then as a white woman who murdered my child at this point, two other white boys, same thing happened, and they get justice. But mine don't. How do you tell me it's not race?
And let me ask you this, Miss Braxton. Are you from the South in general? Like, are you from Mississippi, born and bred and all that other good stuff?
Born and raised in Mississippi my whole life, in that county, my whole life. My mother, my father, everybody is from there. My whole family is from there. And I never knew that I was in this kind of community. They hide so well. They hide so well. They really do. They hide so well. But once this happened to Amiya, I knew then that there's a difference. I knew then that, hey, I was one of the ones that said, I'm tired of people always using race for everything and saying the white man this and the white man that, because I had rest my point with that. You know what I'm saying? And to a extent, I am when it comes to certain things, because you got to get up and you got to own this shit and you got to make it happen and you got to make it do what it do for you. But at the same time, I can absolutely understand, because if John Weddle had not stood in my way and just let me have an attorney, had my own attorney, or removed himself from the case, I would have got justice. I would have been able to get justice. But he will not remove himself. He didn't want to give me any documentations. So what we're finding out is because of, and this is so true, I thought this was a cliche, but sometimes it's exactly who you know. It's exactly who you know. It done went from what you know to who you know. And so she knew somebody. Karen Carpenter knew somebody, and we're gonna find out who it is. And I just want to put her on. I just want to put her in notice. I haven't forgot about you, and you know that I'm coming. Mama is coming. I got to come because I got to make sure that we hold you accountable, so kids will stop getting hit, getting off their school bus, on off their bus. And there's been several other people
hit, doing different I'm so sorry. I'm very popular this time of day. I am. So I just want her to know that I'm coming. And I think that we've covered enough ground to where she can't escape. You know, and she's tried to move off and do a couple things, but she'll never be able to escape this because you did wrong. And God is going to make sure that people know who you are. We have been able to get Amiya TikTok famous a little bit. She has 240 something, 270 some thousand people who follow her on TikTok. She has AmiyaBraxton.com. When you Google her name, she pops straight up on Google. She has Instagram. She has her own Facebook page. People have mentioned her. Solange Knowles has mentioned her. Trey Songz has mentioned her. Kristen Keys has mentioned her. Some of her views on the most popular view, the reconstruction of the correct crime scene, got 3-point-something million views. So we're making sure that we keep Amiya Braxton name out there, and we're also making sure that we're exposing Karen Michelle Carpenter for what she did. So no matter where she goes, she won't be able to go deep enough, because I will get 3 more million on top of the 3 million that we already have. Because I plan to get justice for my baby, and I plan to punish everyone who had a hand in covering up this crime.
And do I also understand it correctly that she may have been going around bragging about getting away with doing that to Amiya?
Yeah, we can't hear you. Technical difficulties happen. Technical difficulties happen.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, so yeah, so she absolutely was telling people that Jesse Jackson couldn't do anything to her. Nobody can do anything to her. She's free and she tends to live her life. And that's okay. You can live your life, but we know you're tormented. We know you probably can't sleep. We know you probably don't rest. And that's probably what you need, because what you need to do is say that I was wrong. I killed somebody's daughter, and let me do my time because I was negligent. Either you are high, either you were high, or you on your cell phone. And nothing else is going to deter me from that, because that's just what it was. She was very irresponsible. Now, I took a drink that day. I stayed at home. I did the adult thing. I made preparations so my kids could be okay. Just for you to be irresponsible and on the road, tired, sick, exhausted, whatever. They even had it out there that she had brake failure. Her brakes, there was nothing wrong with her brakes. She didn't have any brake failure. She was just a negligent driver who do not need to have any driver's license. And you are right. There is something in the handbook that says you sign on to it. You take a test. You say, I will obey by these rules, and I will be a good driver, and I will be safe. So I don't know what happened even on that. It's just so many things that she could have been charged with. And it just breaks our heart that she wasn't charged with anything.
Now, let me ask you this, Ms. Braxton. On the federal level, did you guys try to do a civil rights violation or anything on the federal level, bring charges against the DA for not doing their job? Because he can't be there forever. That's one thing we know. He's definitely not going to be there forever. So has anything been done on the federal level in regards to maybe what the NAACP could or couldn't do, or a local Black politician that could take up the case and bring federal charges?
Well, that's what we're trying to, there's so many things that we are looking into right now, but I can tell you that I tried several times before this new crew came along, and I thank God for them every day. I tried so many times to get so many lawyers involved and people involved to pick their brain, but everybody was just kept telling me, well, you can't do anything to the district attorney, or the time is up on it. The statute of limitations is up on it. There's nothing you could do. So people just kept telling me all this time that there was nothing that I could do. People literally telling me that I need to give up the fight for my baby and just let it be.
Yeah,
there was nothing that could be done.
Let me cut you off there. See, that's what we call an appeal to authority, because a person of authority says it, we think it's true. there is no statute of limitations on murder. To murder.
Correct. I absolutely agree. But that's just one thing that they were doing, and they were just telling me that. I mean, you just don't know how many people who I started with, and they just stopped. I mean, people with money, like good lawyers, famous lawyers, people that you think, okay, you know, they're gonna take this case and they're gonna help. They absolutely stopped calling me. They stopped returning my calls. They Mr. Benjamin Crump told me there's nothing that he could do to stop calling him. Pretty much, several people were writing to him. Several people were like, "Hey, this is a case. This is a case. You know, this is a case." But nobody. He wouldn't do anything. Like, he literally pretty much said, "Okay, there's nothing I can do." So I even asked him. I said, "Well, can you help me get in front of cameras? Can you help me with interviews?" He declined. So he literally said he wanted nothing to do with the case. I even reached out to Mr. Michael Sterling. I mean, people like that of influence, people who can maybe. It's been 5-6 months and I have not heard one thing back. So that's pretty much how it is. But I'm glad that I'm not no punk, and I'm glad that I keep my mouth going, and I'm glad I tell. I'm sorry about that. I tell Amiya story everywhere I go. I literally do. So.
Yeah, and we got to keep her story alive. Like I said, I never even heard about it. I think we got a little bit of an echo. Everybody got their mics. I never even heard of the case until Anna reached out to me. And as I said, I mean, have you guys in the comment section heard of Amiya Braxton's case before today? But to me, I'm not surprised to hear that about Benjamin Crump. Unfortunately, you know, he's good at bringing awareness to cases, but I only think it's, you know, cases to where it's gotten, like, you know, a lot of attention, you know. And as Donovan alluded to it, you know, there probably wasn't enough money in it for him. So, but that doesn't mean that we can't, you know, continue to try to get this out. But there absolutely. I mean, you can't just say walk away or forget it. You know, it is what it is, because God forbid it was one of our children. We wouldn't want somebody to tell us, well, it is what it is. Just pray on it and hopefully it gets better. That's not how it works. So there definitely needs to be justice in this case. And so before we let you go, is there anything else that you want us to know, that we should know? Like, what can we do in order to help get her case out in the forefront and keep it there? What can we do?
So one thing that we can do is sign the petition. I'm sorry about this, y'all. I'm trying to hold my phone. Normally I have this together. My laptop's out, but okay. So one thing we can do is sign the petition on change.org for Amiya Braxton. Also, there will be some more petitions that's coming, and it's to take some actions in some other areas to see if we just can't motivate people to do what they need to do. We did have a GoFundMe. But however, people are people, and so a lot of people was stealing, going in her GoFundMe, setting up fake GoFundMes and taking the money. So we've had that to happen a couple times. We've had people to try to steal pages. We've had people to start pages that didn't even have anything to do with us. So the Justice for Amiya community has 13,000 people on there. Please go on there, like the page, share the page, join the page. I was able to, me and Miss Lori Story was able to create God Works on Tuesdays too. That is the Andrea Braxton story. And that's a whole section of the book is dedicated to how you can help the cause as well as that. But the main thing is just to tell somebody every day and to go on her page and share the story and sign the petition. We're trying to get to 1 million signatures. The 1 million signatures will be very significant because we might be able to get a response from the White House if we can get 1 million signatures. So we most absolutely want everybody to most definitely sign that. Also, I'm not necessarily one to ask for donations because I've always been made to be, people in my community made me feel bad for it. So we don't necessarily ask for donations. However, She does have her own Cash App. It's Justice for Amiya. It's $ Justice for Amiya is her Cash App. And if you was to give anything, that will go to part of the fees and stuff that we have to have for filing different things and all this other stuff. And also I use some of that too for her brother, because her brother lost his sister, and he don't even celebrate his birthday the same anymore. He don't even want to talk about his birthday no more. So I do different things with my kids and stuff. And so whatever that we do, we're trying to do better. And I just want to live a normal life. I just want to be able to buy groceries for my family. I just want to be able to keep my lights on too. I just want to be able to keep on fighting for my baby, because this movement is just not for Amiya at this point. This is for every child. We're standing up for every child.
And what's the Cash App again?
Is $ Justice for Amiya. So, and then it's gonna pop up Andrea Braxton. And so I'm asking people if you would to, if you will. It's always been a struggle for Amiya because of the riffraff and how the media came in, how they did stuff, how words was twisted around. Y'all, they even have it out right now that me and my family took a bribe for money, and that's why we left. People started their rumor. That's not true. If I would have took a bribe, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. There would be no need for me to say anything. You get what I'm saying? But we didn't take no bribe for no money. I moved so I don't have to worry about my kids being set up with drugs or something, or have to worry about being killed in my sleep, or be worried about being ran off the road, because these people in Mississippi are evil people. They will wipe the whole family off and won't tell nobody nothing.
And I think that's important to reiterate too. And you guys, I have, and I hope I have this right. Is this right? $ Justice for Amiya. I think it's important really to reiterate, you know, as you said at the beginning of the show, they have to move. They have to move, you know, due to trying to just simply get justice for their daughter. And so anybody knows moving to a new house, let alone, you know, somewhere far away from where you are, is a huge undertaking. And so you guys know it's Mississippi, the South, and come on. We've read and heard many of stories of them doing horrible things to Black people for trying to stand up for themselves, you know, to get justice. We've heard of plenty of lynchings and things like that, where people just have to up and leave in the middle of the night so that they would not be, you know, a casualty of something that had, you know, they didn't create. And so you guys can help. Anything helps. Donate to this Cash App. And then also I put the Justice for Amiya link from Facebook on there as well, if you guys want to check it out and sign a petition. So I thought I would say that. Okay, so carry on.
Miss Demetra, is $ Justice and then the number 4 Amiya. I'm sorry, it was in the bottom of my purse. I haven't even been able to, you know, I really don't use a card like that because, you know, I work for everything that we get here. So, but that's what it is. And it's so sad. And that's just to show you how people, because of what they did and how they did information, people don't know what to believe. People don't know what to support. I'm gonna throw this out here. There's another lady who wrote a whole book about my daughter without my knowledge, and selling it for a year before I even knew. And she was saying N-words in there and playing in the street like a little monkey. And she knew that Amiya's teeth was knocked out. How did you know that information? Because that right there was not even released until I said it in my interview. But how did you know that? So there's so many dynamics to what's going on surrounding Amiya's story. I've had people that go in there and start GoFundMe's that have like $1,500, $1,600 in there, gone, wiped clean, deleted. So it's just so much that has been happening with Amiya's case. And it gets so overwhelming. And I don't know why the Lord chose me, but he chose me because I guess he knew that I was going to keep my head up and I was going to motivate people. So this right here is going to be my closing remarks. Anything that anybody do for me, I'm grateful. Thank you guys so much. Thank Miss Anastasia. There is my boo. She like, I will pull up. You know, I will pull up.
And she pulls up. You get what I'm saying? So she just pulls up. So Black Lives Matter. I appreciate them pulling up like they do. I appreciate Tawana Graves, my public relation person who has just spent countless hours. I thank God for Mr. Peter Brown, who helps with everything in the street rumors. I'm just learning them. And Miss Shelley Nannon, I'm so grateful for her. But I appreciate all y'all support and all y'all shares who is participating and signing up. I appreciate all of that. But one thing that I want to let everybody know, sometimes you can't fight with your hands. That's not the answer. The same thing that they beat us with is these black and white words. That's what we got to start flipping around on their ass and make them understand what we're saying. Because that's the only thing that they understand is when you take their jobs and when you take their money. That's the only thing that they understand. They don't understand nothing else. They don't understand anything else. And when you take something that they didn't think you were capable of, like they didn't understand when they gave me this police report that I was going to take it and run with it. So they didn't know I was going to do that. That's why they gave it to me. So take nothing for granted and use the same thing that they use on you, but just make it better. It's time out for burning down buildings. It's time out for shooting. It's time out for stabbing. It's time out for rioting. You really got to get in here and you got to make it do what it do with your black and white, because they don't expect for you to come for them like that. They don't expect for you to be 100 and say, okay, so you say this is what this is? Okay, well, if this is what this is, so this applies to you too, don't it? So that's what I'm learning. I'm changing my course and I'm changing my strategy. It's no place for anger right now. It's no place for rash decisions. I got to go old school and I got to beat these devils the good old fashioned way. And that's just with black and white. Same thing they did to me. Same way that they manipulated me, the same way I'm going to do. Now, whoever does whatever, however you fight your cause. So let me say this. I'm not knocking anybody that march. I'm not knocking anybody that do that because you feel like that's what you have to do. But in this particular case, that's not going to help me. So there's no need for me. That part right there is not going to help me. But I mean, I just appreciate everybody that's in any part of the struggle who has did anything. I appreciate you guys and we love you.
Absolutely. And I want to say, Mr. Braxton, anytime you want to come on and, give us an update or just, continue to talk about Amiya's story, just hit my inbox and I'll be more than happy to have you on here.
Thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And Anastasia, thank you so much for bringing this case to our attention so we can continue raising awareness. And so again, anytime you want to come back, just let us know.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Oh, my God. But what have I been saying, even though I'm a little bit more extreme than Demetra? What have you been saying? Like I said, this is confirmation to me that I'm not paranoid and I'm not living in some bizarre world. This stuff goes on all the time. Black people outnumber white people in the South 2-1. 2-1, and we're still coming in there, especially us from California. We're going down to the South in droves. And yet this kind of stuff goes on. You've got, wait, I got a question. Where's the pastors? Where are the black pastors? Where are they? Where's this black boule leadership from all these HBCUs? This is, when you guys see me go off, you guys, this is one of the reasons why I go off. You keep telling me march and do this and be peaceful and stuff like that, and things will change, and we get Joe Biden in there, he's going to save the whole black community. You've got black police officers that are precinct captains and whole police chiefs. Police culture doesn't change. You're down there 2-1, and these people are afraid of the white folks. See, but you got to know who you are. See, that's why my mom does not want me to come to the South, because either I'm going to hurt somebody, or I'm going to be hurt, because I'm not having it. And I'm going to ask you guys really to share this story. And if you got a few dollars, look, take half your cigarettes and donate it to a good cause so this lady could get some justice. That day that you're smoking weed 6 times a day, just smoke 5 times a day and make a donation to the cause. Because it's obvious our black servants that we keep electing, they are not going to do anything. Not when it comes to outright black murder. And like I said, that DA, that's ridiculous. I happen to know when you get a driver's license, regardless if the person jumps out there or not, you for the privilege of driving, you are supposed to be cognizant of pedestrians. And you're supposed to yield to pedestrians. So the lady was wrong all the way around, and she should have been charged a minimum of manslaughter. Minimum. But of course, we appeal to authority. And Demetra's right when she says that. We figure because somebody has a gun and a badge, or they're in the law enforcement professionals, oh, they're right. No, they're not right. Do you guys realize most police officers don't know the law? Do you guys realize that? 6 weeks in the police academy does not make you a law aficionado. You got attorneys that don't know the law. That's why they're saying they're studying law. They're practicing law. Like a practicing doctor. There's no way you could know all the laws. Most police officers only know basic law of arrest. That's it. That's it. They don't even know the first 4 tenets of the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. This is why I go off, you guys. So this is a great story. It's a tragic story. And God forbid if you were in that situation and, you know, things like that happen to you. Like I said, you know, she has a great spirit, though, Demetra. I really like her spirit that she's fighting for the justice. So thank God.
Miss Braxton, did you want to come back on? Oh, okay. I'll just take you out of the studio. All right, so yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree, and Gerard, and we're gonna start taking some of you guys' comments too. And thank you for being so patient. Gerard, it really hit the nail on the head too, which is why it's so important to vote in local elections. We get too wrapped up into, you know, the national election, the president, you know, Donald Trump and Joe Biden, but we neglect the state and local elections because they have the most effect on our lives. You know, the DA, many times they are elected, but we don't really pay attention to those things. And then we get somebody like your John Weddle, that's, you know, name of the DA in this case, who shrugs his shoulders like, I don't see anything here. There's nothing here, you know, and there's a potential cover up. He gets voted on by people who look like him. And to Donovan's point, in the South, you know, we outnumber, or there's at least a lot of Black people. And so we should not be in a plantation state of affairs, if you will. So what I mean by that is all your city elected officials, they're white. But everybody else, the majority of the people who live in these cities are Black, just like Ferguson, where Mike Brown was murdered. They had all white everything, but it was, I think, like 90% Black people in, you know, Ferguson. Yeah,
and the Supreme Court and the federal people that did the investigation found that the city of Ferguson was funding their police and their basic general fund through dealing with the poor Black people in the neighborhood. They were basically extorting these people. And they said, no, you know, this is wrong because 98% of their money and revenue was coming from tickets and just frivolous things that they were setting these Black people up to do.
Right. And Anna, I'm seeing what you're saying. A justice court judge in Mississippi only needs a high school diploma or a GED. So they don't even have to be cognizant of the law like that to, you know, have a law degree. But how many people actually know that? How many people know that Jim Bob up the street can run for city judge and he's sitting on there making decisions that's affecting people's lives? Did you know that? You know, or are we so wrapped up into what the media, you know, is telling us that, oh, the national election this and the national this, that, and the other, but they're forgetting to tell you that your judges, your DA, and your sheriffs, and your city councils, and your mayors, those people directly affect your life. So if you drive down a street in your neighborhood and the streets are messed up, you got potholes, you got garbage, you got a whole bunch of stuff, guess whose job that is? That's the city council member who was elected to your district to make sure that, you know, the district they represent is taken care of. It's not the president of the United States. What can he or she do for you at that level? For instance, you have these moratoriums that were, expired July 31st, they're back in now. But let's just say that they didn't get extended. The federal government gave states $46 billion, to which $3 billion of that has only been spent. Now, where did they give it? They gave it to the states. And so somewhere, all of that money is sitting in a state office somewhere. For whatever reason, it has not been dispersed. And you have millions of Americans who are facing eviction, but nobody is trying to fast track this money to the people. So whose fault is it really that this money is sitting there? Is it the president's fault? I'm not a Joe Biden fan, but I'm just asking questions. Is it the president's fault or is it the state's fault? And are you just as vigorous about voting for your state local official, whether it's your senator or your assembly person, whoever, as you are for the president?
And let me add on to that. Do you know what happens when that money sits there in the states and it's not being used? It gets diverted in a very accounting trick way to, okay, that was supposed to be for housing and to help people and landlords to make their rent and stuff like that, right? Who do you think is going to get that money if it sits there not being used? The corporations are going to find a very great way to say, oh, well, we rent office space. So we went all that money. Look at all the stimulus money from last year that people that shouldn't have gotten stimulus got it. Didn't Jeff Bezos or one of the billionaires was able to get some of the PPE loans or something like that? They were not PPE loan, but one of those loans.
I don't think it was Jeff Bezos.
No. Yeah, we're talking about Jeff Bezos, but it was a billionaire that, I mean, businesses that shouldn't have gotten it, got it. That didn't need a bailout, they got the money and they used it. And that's what's going to happen when federal dollars are released and given to the states and it sits there. They find ingenious ways to maneuver it, not into your community. It goes into the general fund. And what happens when money goes into the general fund? It could be spent everywhere. Does it go into your community? No, it goes to Beverly Hills because, they found one pothole in 7 years. They got to go fix that. Or it goes to the new airport that they want to build for the benefit of people who can afford airline tickets, and so on and so forth. This is why it's important that we need to be involved at the local level. Right now, Joe Biden wants everybody to get, at least the children, mandated to be Jade, right? But look what's happening in Florida. The guy DeSantis said, no, you ain't, I run this state, not you. That shows you how much power at the local level they have to affect your life. He said, no, you ain't, I'm going to make a law that you can't mandate people doing this and doing that. Joe Biden has no power over that, but we get so excited. The only good thing about the federal government is it takes all of our overall tax dollars and it gives it to the states. But at the local levels, that's what affects us the most. And again, this lady right here, you could be the most proactive judge in the United States that ever sat was, what's this guy, Brown versus Board of Education? He wasn't even a lawyer. Earl Warren, he wasn't even a lawyer. He got appointed to the Supreme Court. He wasn't even a lawyer. He was a former governor of California, wasn't even a lawyer. So in some of these positions, you don't need those type of positions. You don't need those type of credentials. You're just there.
Absolutely. I'm going to start reading some of your comments. And Anna also saw, you said the coroner doesn't even need a medical degree. It's like, what the hell? How the hell they running? I mean, just, somebody who just, hey, I want to be the local coroner today. And that is bananas to me. But also, before I get to these comments, the grand jury, is selected as well. But I was called to be on the grand jury, even though it never went forth. But guess what I did? I showed up. And a lot of times we don't show up. And a jury is made of what? Your peers. It's supposed to be. Now, I don't know what this particular jury looked like in Amiya's case, but in a lot of cases, the juries do not reflect us. And we just need to start showing up because God forbid you get, as they say in the South, I'm new to the South, in a lurch. You want somebody sitting in that jury box that looks like you that may give you a fighting chance. And so when you get that jury summons, show up. Forget what you might have going on because you never know. And Donovan has talked about this a lot. He's actually saved somebody's life by sitting on a jury when the rest of the jury wanted to find him guilty. And Donovan said there's not enough here to find him guilty. But what if it wasn't Donovan? What if it was somebody else? He would be guilty for something he may or may not have done. So anyway, let me get to you guys' comments. And I'm going to start toward the bottom. I know there's a lot that I missed. And I'll start with you, the Pioneer. You said, it's a shame that so many Black folks have been harmed and mistreated. That many Black folks have gotten just tired of marching and complaining. Many are just apathetic to it now. Yeah, and I think that's us as a people. We do get very apathetic to the things that go on to us or with us. I mean, for over 400 years of just the most, yeah, you kind of get used to it or numb, right? And Mercy Always 23, how you doing? He says, a Mississippi judge backed into my car, and when the officer arrived, they both said I should just let it go because there was no damage. I don't think that would have happened if I backed into his car. Yeah, I mean, they probably knew each other, and they was like, listen, what you want us to do about it, you know? But I totally believe you. Hey, Jerome, how you doing? And the Pioneer, again, you said one of the problems with much of this money is that it is passed off to private charitable organizations like Goodwill and Salvation Army, and you have to sign up with them for help. Yeah, and Salvation Army and the Goodwill, I mean, if you really look at what they do, Goodwill, they don't have any products. They get all that stuff donated. So does the Salvation Army, and they have issues within their organization if you guys want to check it out. And Fight for Black, how you doing? It says, Queen Demetra, many do not want to take part in the political process from start to finish. Just casting a ballot is not enough to fulfill the needs of Black communities. It's absolutely right. Your job is really just beginning, you know, especially, well, I guess if you look at it both ways, if you elect the wrong person and the right person, you want to make sure that they're held accountable and do what they said they were going to do.
Right. Let me jump on that real quick. The recent election of that happened in the Ohio's 11th district. Nina Turner got blown out, not because she was a bad candidate. She got blown out by big money at the last hour. Money buys elections. And now they have a candidate that funneled $17 million to her boyfriend. This woman is corrupt as all know what. She ran as a Democrat and received Republican donations, rich Republican donations, that helped her win the election. This is what it is. And this is why they are assaulting our voting rights, because as long as one person has a vote, they have a voice. Because money, you can buy votes. That's perfectly fine. You can buy them if you want. But the point is, you still have too many people out here that have a vote. And that's why they're trying to take votes away from people, because as long as you got a voice, they can't run their main agenda. So that's how important it is. But if we don't get the right people in there, it's a damn shame. So now that this lady has won this election, be it rigged or whatever, because you're supposed to have one man, one vote. I don't know how money in politics is freedom of speech, because if I've got $10 million and you got $1, that's not equal. But if you have a vote and I have a vote, that is equal. But that's another story. So now that this woman is in charge of the 11th district, let's see how she's going to run that district. Is she going to listen to the people of that district, or is she going to be listening to the people who campaigned and gave her money? That's the difference.
Yeah, also, I mean, I look at the fact that James Clyburn, Hillary, and a couple other key players in
corporate Democrats.
Yeah, they fought very hard for her to get in there, and she's in there. So to me, that was very troubling. Anyway, and Anais, how you doing? He says, yes, businesses unqualified got PPP loans. Yeah, a lot of them there. I don't know if Jeff Bezos was one of them though. And Honeydew, how you doing? He says, one thing is white supremacy like to see us crying and marching on TV. They get upset at property damage, but laugh at our misery. Absolutely. And Aisha says, new airport in New York because JFK needs reconstruction. Yep. They have money for that kind of stuff for sure. And Fight for Black to say, here, I have a small business and my bank ignored me for months to the point that the PPP loan funds ran out. Damn. That's how, but I bet you didn't run out for they folks though. You also say, I could care less about voting for the POTUS. Yes, indeed. I mean, he like Donovan said, he really doesn't have a whole lot of powers in regards to the states. If that was the case, these mass mandates that the states are rejecting, like Texas and, you know, that thing, y'all know what I mean when I say that thing is going back up. We're in level 1, red tier. He can't make them enforce a mass mandate.
And then again, Bush versus Gore. I can say it's amazing how many people are so educated, are black boule. They're so educated and stuff, and just people think they know things. The Supreme Court said in Bush versus Gore, your vote doesn't matter for the presidency. That's what they said. They said it doesn't matter. That's local elections. It matters. Here, it doesn't matter. The Electoral College elects the president, so it doesn't matter if you lose the popular vote. Doesn't matter.
Yes, indeed. And Anna, you say family of Elaine Chao, U.S. Secretary of Transportation, and Mitch McConnell's wife, Paul Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi's husband. Nepotism. And they funnel money down and make sure they all get rich.
Absolutely. $3 billion rail system here in California. Guess who that contract went to?
Nancy Pelosi's husband.
No, Senator Feinstein's husband.
Oh, one of them.
Isn't that a conflict of interest?
It sounds like it to me. And the Pioneer says DeSantis is just talking trash. He can't mandate or refuse anything. Republican governors talk all of this, quote unquote, no more tyranny from Washington crap and turn around and go right along with the program. Well, they do have control and they can refuse and do certain things. The 10th Amendment gives them a lot of rights in regards to money and how they run their state. So they do have more rights. I mean, if that was the case, why doesn't Joe Biden say, well, listen, I don't care what you say? Because if you notice, they say, well, federally, like if you go on an airplane or any federal buildings, yeah, we can mandate a mask. You need people to wear masks. But anything on a state level or local level, we have no control over that. So,
right. And remember all those Republican judges that rejected the ACA and ACA
in their
money.
states. Yeah,
to the state.
Yep. And Mercy always, you say we need to start a peer-to-peer business funding for our Black businesses. Yes, called group economics. Dr. Claude Anderson has been talking about it for years, but it's an excellent idea. And Anna says Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump have been connected to get some federal relief aid. Oh yeah, they become more wealthier than they were just by being related to that of Donald Trump. So
yeah, matter of fact, Jared Kushner's company did get money from the business loans and stuff for all his rentals in New York City. That's right. Jared Kushner did get money. Here's the person that already has money, then he gets aid. Doesn't make sense. Corporate welfare. That they talk about they don't believe in it, but they believe in it more than anybody else.
Yes, indeed. And fight for Black. You say Arnold Schwarzenegger was clueless as governor of California. The governor. That's what we called him. Who was it that was? Oh gosh,
Pete Wilson.
Pete Wilson, horrible. Mm-hmm. And so he kind of got in there. Of course, he has his celebrity.
Well, Schwarzenegger took Gray Davis's job. He was the first.
That's who it was.
Governor. Yeah, Gray Davis, first governor impeached in over 100 years.
Gray Davis did a horrible job, and here comes the Terminator, the governor, and people thought, oh, he was going to do a bang up job, and that he did.
Yeah, matter of fact. He left it $4 billion or $1 trillion worse than Gray Davis had.
Yeah, I guess they thought, Ronald Reagan was a success. I don't know if he was, so let's try it again. And the Pioneer says Biden and the governors are all on the same page. They're all on the same team, but playing different roles to fool you and make you think they are opposing each other to make you think you have an ally. You are absolutely correct. Thunder, how you doing? You said
sounds like the CBC.
Yes, indeed. And Thunder says, why are we running scared all the time? The Second Amendment applies to us as well. Yeah, that is true. I mean, but they actually say that Black gun ownership is up. But of course, what happens when we organize. Yeah, the Black Panthers, in California, they made open and carry illegal. You guys, where's the NFAC? I'm just throwing those ideas out there, but you're absolutely right. We should exercise those at least to protect ourselves, right?
There was an episode of Good Times where James brought the gun in the house. Who was the main one opposing him having a gun in the house?
Florida.
Oh, James, oh God. And that is still prevalent in our community. Oh, we don't want a gun in the house.
Well, and also they have these campaigns in our neighborhood. We want to buy back the guns from you and give you all a gift card to the local grocery store for $30. But it's like, okay, well, if we don't have any guns, see, this is what I tell people. Guns are to protect you. It's not the guns that are bad, it's the people who are bad. And so people need to be educated as to why they need to exercise their Second Amendment rights. But I mean, if we keep giving away our guns, now I get they should get the illegal ones off the street. I'm not saying that, but as far as there's no need to have guns in our community, that's absolutely false. We need to be able to protect ourselves as well. And let's see here. Where did it go? Oh, Anna, you said this is why mass incarceration is so relevant, because if you have a certain type of felony, you lose your right to sit on a jury. Yes, indeed. So that's why it's important for most of us that can just do it, whether you want to or not. I mean, I don't love sitting on a jury. I've never gotten selected, but I have shown up. I don't like spending my, day going to jury selection and then I never get picked. I mean, I've gotten all the way up, I think, to the second or third round. It was like, okay, you're done for the year. I was like, well, damn, I came this far. You could at least let me look inside the courtroom. And Sunlight, how you doing? He says Goodwill and Salvation Army sell things they get for free. Absolutely. And their CEOs are balling out of control, and they pay people minimum wage, and they don't really give back much. Sometimes, but not as much as what they're getting, right? So we should really check into those type of things. And the Pioneer says, I'm curious of what exactly was on this Karen, quote unquote, character's toxicology report. Did they find any substance, or did they refuse to make it public? I don't know. Anna, did they even test her as far as the toxicology report is concerned? It doesn't sound like they did much to her at all. So I don't know. Well, hopefully we'll find out. And Thunder says some of us get scared of even mentioning self-defense. We have a right to defend ourselves. This is not illegal. We need to stop walking around scared all the time. Absolutely. Get a permit to carry.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah, get it, do it legal. And here in Texas, you don't need a permit. It's like the OK Corral around here, I guess.
Yep, I had a cop come to my house a few weeks ago for some bullshit. I told him, you want to jump that fence, you're going to have a serious problem. And I threatened him. I said, you're on my property. You have no jurisdiction here without a warrant. See what I'm saying? You got to know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
If he had a warrant and he showed me and it read whatever, he can come on my property. But he knows just as well as I know, you come over here, I have every right to shoot you down. Every right.
Yeah, you're not coming on my property. And Anna says Shake Shack, Ruth Chris Steakhouse, and Axos, I think I said wrong, got it, but was ashamed in the returning. So I remember Ruth Chris got some. It's like, wait a minute, you a multi-million-dollar steak entity where people spend a mortgage just to eat there. What are you doing? And you also say Ayn Rand Institute, the institute founded on the ideas of objectivist thinker Ayn Rand, who believed government, and you said handouts were immoral, and who influenced libertarianism in the U.S. received a check from the government. She was like, shoot, there's too much getting to be passing over around here, huh? And let's see here. Oh, and then Sunlight says DeSantis is not gonna fall in line. Trust me, he's proven that. I've got to get out of Florida. It sucks. Yeah,
no, stay in Florida. That's where we could have our little summer house and all that other good stuff. So we could just go visit. So we can get out. We just want to keep the property. Okay. I don't know what part of Florida you're in, but I used to be in Jacksonville. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it.
But they didn't even shut down the first time, did they? Wasn't he defiant about that as well? So yeah, he definitely is with the stuff. The Pioneer says mask and social distancing are probably one of the best things you can do to protect yourself. Ain't it a little suspect how these racist citizens and racist politicians are so much against it? Yeah, they ain't having it. But
yeah, I really think it comes down to the money. They need those Negro workers and those minimum wage workers to serve them. That's what it comes down to. It comes down, they're losing money and they need Negroes to serve them, period.
Yes, indeed. And I says, I'm going to have an arsenal of guns. Yeah, I mean, it's your right to do that.
I've already got that.
And Sunlight says, Florida Evans, the usual suspect. Florida is the reason they never left the project before James died. I love her, but damn, it's the truth. No, you were supposed to say, damn. And Anna says in Florida, they are allowing vouchers to private schools because of public school mask mandates. So here we go with more school segregation. Absolutely.
Real quick. I don't know if you guys watch TV like I do. Me and Al, we can tell you about all these episodes. But last night on the PBS channel, public access TV, they were doing Eyes on the Prize, not the 1964-50 area. They've increased it to like the 70s and the 80s. And they were talking about busing last night, and some of the people who were like on the forefront of fighting, for the busing. Guess who was in that clip? They were talking about Maynard Jackson being the first, Southern black mayor. Dolores Norton Holmes, whatever that chick is, and thing. All these people that you see that are in Congress right now that don't do shit for black people were the people that were fighting in the 60s or early 70s and stuff like that, in the 70s, that were like ground fighters that don't give a shit now. Go watch that, because I saw that, because you saw how activist they were and just like militant they were then, to see how milquetoast they are now. It's crazy. So you guys get a chance, watch that. Eye on the Prize, 1970 forward.
Yeah, a lot of them buy in. And Steve, how you doing? He said, I was born with the same goddamn God-giving rights to exercise my Second Amendment, just like these hateful ass colonizers. Absolutely. But it always means something different than when you have a gun in your hand.
Yeah. But I always tell them, if you don't want my people to exercise our rights, pay us our money and we'll go. We will be on our way. Pay us our money and we will be on our way.
Sounds easier said than they want to do. And Anna says, we don't know about Karen's blood test. I've been asking. So there's no information about that at all. And Thunder says, a man that doesn't know his rights ain't got any. You ain't lying. So a wise man once told me too, he says, you can't break the rules if you don't know them. So, hey, Pam, how you doing? And Pioneer says, don't trust these Republicans when they say they are against the V. It's a game they're playing. Now, some of them, like the governor of Alabama and Mitch McConnell, are ridiculing. Really ridiculing those who don't get it. Yeah, but you know what though? They was involved in the nonsense all the way up until the insurrection. When they was running for their lives, then they started to say, okay, well, maybe we should knock it off, right? Because, at the end of the day, they want business to continue. You can't do that with this thing on the uprise. Sacks Up Your Life, how you doing? He says, I intended to make a donation and will pray for justice for her daughter. Or I intend, rather, to make a donation and will pray for justice for her daughter's death. Absolutely. We thank you so much for that. Every little bit helps her, as sometimes day-to-day life is a struggle because they have to move, completely just move due to their safety. So we appreciate that. And Honeydew says, we love good times and all, but at the end of an episode, Florida Evans gratefully looks up at white Jesus on the wall. I noticed this last week. Yeah, I have a meme for that one. It's that of her looking up at Joe Biden and a few other people. Yeah. And Gerard says, Donovan's Cowboys got the PPP loan. Okay, how come you didn't know about that, huh?
That's what I'm saying. A lot of the millionaires, they put this money out there specifically so that they put a loophole so that these millionaires can get it more so than the people that need it. And guess what we do? Nothing.
Clearly nothing, because y'all ain't been winning nothing. So they might as well just gave that money back.
I think they needed it to cover Dak Prescott's $40 million a year, even though he's not really like a top tier type quarterback, in my opinion, but oh well.
Maybe they should have just started betting against the team and they would have won more money that way. I don't know. And Pam says, Donovan, your president extended student loan repayment until January 30th, 2022, like I knew he would. Laugh out loud.
Of course, but he extended it. But notice he didn't stop the interest bearing on it. The interest still goes up. You don't have to pay it, but that interest is still accumulating.
Yeah, but he said he was going to get rid of some of it, and now it's like, I did. Oh, my bad.
No, I can't do it. It's unconstitutional. Don't have the authority.
Your donors don't want you to do it. Just keep it real. Keep it real, Joe.
But you can do executive orders for everybody else, but just when it comes to black people, that's all. That's all.
Yeah, and they said getting rid of student loan debt will tremendously, and that is true, help Black people, because a lot of Black people who've gone to school have amassed a lot of student loan debt, and that would be a game changer for a lot of Black people. Now, I know a lot of
Black women, since they're the most educated
well, hell, I mean,
people. Yeah, no, I'm just saying in general, but you guys are the moms, you guys do a lot. That would significantly help Black women and our families if you take that debt off of these women. You're highly educated, but you guys are strapped in debt.
Absolutely. So, I mean, there you go. And
thus, I can't get with you because you got that debt, which becomes my debt. So I'm going to go find me something else.
Hey, for better or worse, baby. For better or worse. You want us to deal with your worst. The Pioneer says, Sister Demetra, see how much we think alike. I made a mistake in my previous post, and instead of reading the mistake, I made you read it how I intended it for it to be read. Laugh out loud. And, you know, it probably has a lot to do with me not having my glasses on today, too. So, and Pam says, the point is, he extended it. Laugh out loud. And Anita, how you doing? It says, Jim Crow Joe has selective amnesia. Yeah, probably very selective. Yeah, he extended it, you know, and that's what, less than 6 months? I don't know. Maybe something else will give, but, you know, it's still a shadow for a lot of people, right? And the Pioneer says, actually, Black folks have the same rights other groups have in this nation. Most don't exercise it because of fear. You can't legislate courage. Like I said, you have Black officers and judges, but what
that don't do shit. They don't change the culture. They don't impact the culture. I can say this. When I became an ops officer, there was a directive that came down from the Air National Guard Bureau. I was flying with the Air National Guard up in Alaska. The Guard Bureau said that the flying units that were 96.8% white males had to reflect the communities that they came from. So I would sit on the pilot board, and you had all these white boys and girls come in and apply. Out of 5 people on the board, I'm the only Black person. Every applicant that came that was white, I rejected on the basis of the statistics of Anchorage, Alaska. We had to come up with at least 3% of Black people had to be pilots, right? Of the people there. The guys took me to the back room and they said, Donovan, this guy's a great applicant. He has all this stuff like that. Don't care. Don't care. He has to be a Black person. We have 96% of you know, people already in here. I'm one Black person. There's another Black person. We need to get at least 3 Black people in here. And until that happens, my vote is no. I implemented change because I sat at the power to do so. Here's where I'm going with this. You've got chiefs. You've got these people who are sitting in positions of power to change the culture or whatever it is, and they do nothing.
That is true. And I've seen in the last couple of days, Black officers brutalizing Black people. I saw one where an officer, and I can't remember where it was, but the officer kicked a woman in her face as she was lying on her stomach, handcuffed. He kicked her in her face with his hard shoe. Guess he didn't like what she said to him. Got caught on camera. He didn't intend to, but he got caught.
Yeah, remember those 5 Black officers in Atlanta that were brutalizing those protesters? What, you know, look at that. Black police showing out for the white cop. It goes, I mean, Black police are worse. At least here in California, you know that, Demetra. They're worse than the Hispanic cops or the white cops.
Yeah, I mean, ordinarily, yeah, you would think, oh gosh, it's a Black cop, it means something, but they really have fallen victim mentally to that. Oh, we're blue brothers. It's the shield that matters. It's the blue shield, and then we're Black. It's like, no. Ask Muhammad Noor up there in Minnesota, who's serving time for shooting that white woman. They gave him what, 12, almost 20 years, something like that. And
21 years. 21 years. Nigga, look, quick trial. 21. Boom. Where was the police union then? Where was the police union backing him? They just said, oh, he's gone. Bye.
Exactly. And hey, Jafia, how you doing? At Thunder, you say, I remember back in the day that used to have a problem with gun stores being in the hood. Now that I think about it, I don't think they wanted us to have instant access in case another Tulsa or Rosewood. Absolutely. That's one thing I don't see in the neighborhoods. is a gunshot. I see everything else, but I do not see that. So you're absolutely right. And Jafia says it was in Atlanta where the officer kicked the woman in her face. Yes, I saw that, and he got fired. Now he got fired. Now he just needs to be charged, right? And found guilty. And Anita, you say same here. And Jafia says in New York City, the Dominican cops are the worst. And the Pioneer says in Detroit, we had a truly strong black mayor in the 70s who cussed out the racists, drove them out of the city, and forced white cops to have a black partner if they were patrolling black neighborhoods. Yeah, that definitely needs to be go on. But black cops, that's really going to be like, hey, man, not my people. You being a little rough.
Yeah, you know, if you guys get a chance, go on YouTube every now and then and watch the police audits and stuff, and you'll see how these black police or this police officers in general act. And there was one I was watching where the guy, it was a white cop, and he's like talking to this other white guy, and trying to make him give up his rights and stuff, all that stupid stuff. And the white guy just said, "You ain't from my neighborhood." He goes, "The problem is you're not from this neighborhood. You're coming here as a aggressor. If you were from the neighborhood, you probably have a different attitude." So that's some of the problems we're having as well. People that are coming out as occupiers into our neighborhoods.
Yes, indeed. And let's see here. And Jafia says the cop that shot a white woman was Somalian. Yes, Mohammed Noor. Yes, he was. And Stevie say the rocket raccoon, them rocket raccoon mother effers is just as evil as the white ones with their stupid ass. Yes, indeed. They got something to prove. They don't want their homies to think they soft. Not soft on the Negroes. And Jafia say now he knows what it means to be black in America. Yeah, because sometimes, the black people from the motherland, they kind of see themselves as different. But it's like, yeah, Donovan says it perfectly. The people who want to come over here, immigrate over here, he says, nah, y'all want to just come over here and get the benefits. He said, nah, come over here and get all the white man got to offer. Some racism, come get it all. You don't just come over here and just do like a buffet. I'll have some of this and I'll have some of that. Yeah, no, get everything they got to offer, like we've been getting, right? And then Sunlight, you say, what I heard it was 12. So maybe it is 12. Because I was thinking 11. So maybe it is 12 years.
Well, I know it has a combo of 1 or 2. The 1 and 2 is in there.
So he's backwards. So maybe it is 12 because I was thinking more like 11 for the sentencing of the officer in Minnesota. And let's see here. And Thunder says, look at a Sanford & Son white cop, black cop. Y'all on these TV shows. And Fight for Black says Mayor Marion Barry and Maurice Turner protected the black community as we did not see police brutality like other states and towns. Those days are gone. You have some black mayors who will say, well, we need to investigate. Now, Keisha Lance Bottoms, when the George Floyd thing was jumping off, she did take swift action. It was swift action against the black cops, though.
And guess what happened to her? Negro, get your ass up off this seat. We bringing the other nigga back.
Well, she said she wasn't running anymore. I don't know what
that isn't it, because somebody told the Democratic machine told her it's time for you to go.
Right, you being a little too lenient. And the Pioneer says, sis, you're too fast on these comments without Moni Hunt participating. You're running through this chat like kids through cherry Kool-Aid. You mean like Donovan through cherry Kool-Aid? I bet you got a whole.
No, I don't do cherry Kool-Aid. We don't be saying cherry Kool-Aid, or we don't be saying tropical punch. Red. We do red.
Donovan got. Well, what y'all want to talk about? What else we got? We got a couple of more minutes here. What else is hot on the wire? Because I haven't really been. I've been busy today. So, well, what's going on? I would love to know. It don't have to be something serious. It can be trivial, if you will. Yesterday.
Did you hear that Kanye's listening party at that stadium? Some dude snuck in and got on stage. So has anybody heard Kanye's snippets of his new album?
I think it hasn't been released yet. It was supposed to be released like 2 weeks ago, I think, at this point. But people are anticipating Donda. That's the title of the album after his mother. So I'm waiting to listen to it too. But on a good note, Rihanna is now a billionaire. She is the wealthiest billionaire female entertainer in the world, and she is second behind Oprah as far as wealthiest entertainer. So big ups to Rihanna. You know what? I like Rihanna. I like Rihanna because she's a hustler, you know, and somewhere down the line, she figured, you know, this music is cool, but let me flip this and, you know, make a whole enterprise here. And, you know, she's got Fenty, you know, the clothing line and the lingerie and the lipstick, the makeup. I'm wearing Fenty lipstick. If anybody wants to know, I'm in the process of trying to figure out how to make my own red lipstick. Because, you know, people ask me, what are you wearing? I love to be able to say my own. But in the meantime, you know, Rihanna, she has gotten a hold of how to become wealthy. And so I think we should support her as much as we can. You know, we're going to buy makeup, buy it from Rihanna. You know, you're going to buy underwear or whatever. And it's pretty reasonable, too. It's not that bad because, listen, I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of money on nothing. Okay? But so yeah, that's an awesome thing. I like Rihanna. I'm glad that she didn't just rest on being pretty and, you know, selling garbage music. I'm glad she actually turned it around and you know, did something good. And let's see here. Yes, good for Rihanna, the pioneer. Who's doing that cyberbullying, honeydew? And the pioneer says, I didn't care much for Rihanna's music, but I think her looks made her famous more than her singing laugh out loud. Yeah, probably. So I mean, I like her music, but I like her tenacity. I like the fact that, you know, she saw an opportunity and she seized upon it. You know, and Rihanna hasn't made a record, an album in a long time, if you really think about it. So,
well, you know, hey, when you get beat like that by Chris Brown, maybe it's never mind. I'm just joking. I'm joking.
As her and Chris Brown said, it ain't nobody's business. Okay, that's the name of their song. They've evolved from that. And let's see here. And Jafia says, Madonna must be someone crying that Riri stole her title. Good for Riri. Yeah, Madonna's had a lot of work done. She's in her 60s.
Yeah, she looks it. You know, I got something I want to talk about. Isn't today supposed to be the day Donald Trump is supposed to be reinstalled as the president of the United States? Wasn't the date August 6th?
Can I be honest with you? Ain't nobody that, and you know what I'm saying? I mean, I just, to me, it's funny. Anybody who believes that is a fool. They're just as big of a fool as he is. If you like, really, it didn't work. It didn't work. Okay. Let it go. Come back next election season and make it do what it do. And he says, I wear the lip bar makeup. I think I've heard of that line before. And then Thunder, he said, did you hear about the racist that rigged a stolen car and drove it into a black man's home that he was terrorizing? Yes, I actually did a story on the African Diaspora News Channel. It's up today if y'all want to check it out. So I did hear about that. And I says, I also wear plain Jane beauty. We also say, Jafia says, I agree 100% at the pioneer. And Jafia says, Madonna was the wealthiest female entertainer. Oh, before Riri. Yeah, well, she need to, you know, get her money up or her game up. But I will say this, now that I think about Madonna, we didn't really talk about this. And I kind of want to be careful in how we talk about this again. Not my choice, but YouTube and Facebook. And Honey says, I'm not trying to say nothing at all, but the Tuskegee Airmen chapter in Philadelphia was ran by a Jewish white man looking to be fair. Okay. And then Aisha says August 13th, Trump is the date of him to be reinstalled. So we're a week early here. So anything is possible. You know, keep waiting for it. And Steve says, I post my 2 tickets on Facebook for Trump inauguration today. That did not take place because it's next week. That's why you're early.
They keep moving the goalposts. Every time it's like this date, and then, we got it wrong. I didn't say that. The Supreme Court, it's like, okay, when they came up with that lie earlier this year, because I'm a political guy, when he said August, I said, wait a minute. The Supreme Court's not even in session in August. So how is the Supreme Court going to reinstate anyway?
We're going to try the insurrection one more time. One more time. And Jafia says, did anybody notice that they are giving Black people a hard time at this year's Olympics? Yeah, well, that they've been doing that, right, since the days of Jesse Owens, but it does seem like it's excessive. But when I was thinking about it and just kind of seeing that the United States is not faring well, and I know it's not just the United States, but the Olympic Committee, I said, God is not pleased. I mean, the men's basketball team, they got out there and lost early on, and you know, track and field.
Well, look at our track and field. You leave the fastest chick on some, you know, oh, she made a mistake, whatever, BS, whatever. Well, she could have still done the 400. Did you see that the men's 400 relay, they came in sixth place? Why even show up?
Right. So something's going on there, you know, but America, they're going to come back here and America's going to treat them crazy. So, I mean, maybe that's just the way it is, you know. And I used to say Cuomo was set up. I'm just saying, I tend to believe that as well. But let me say this. So I was thinking about Madonna and Elton John. You guys, of course, I've heard about the baby. And I don't like to talk about too many trivial things. But of course, you guys know the baby has been getting canceled and a lot of his shows or removed from a lot of shows, tours, and things like that due to some statements he made that was deemed to be homophobic, and it was some statements in regards to AIDS and HIV. Somehow people tied it to that of Lil Nas X, and for about 2 weeks or so now, a lot of back and forth has gone on. A lot of people denounced the baby being a rapper. Madonna and Elton John were a few of the people who did it. A whole host of other people, but they were saying it's wrong and this, that, and the other. And so he's been canceled off of like 7 tours now. They said it's probably cost him boy, you're saying, and it's $1 million, but I heard $2 million is what it's probably cost him. So he did apologize twice, but I guess Lollapalooza, I think it was, they were saying he was supposed to send a pre-recorded apology before he took the stage. He didn't, but he issued an apology, and I guess it was not good enough. And so the community will say that the community has been hot on his heels trying to get him canceled every which way. And so I just think at some point in time, we have to respect people's freedom of speech. I'm not saying it's right what he said at all. I think it was very uneducated what he said, but I don't think he meant any harm. I think he was just kind of speaking off the cuff, and he's been paying for it ever since. But I just want to know, like with Madonna and Elton John and all these other people who've been so outspoken about the baby, who said something. Did you say something about Ed Buck when he was murdering and drugging black men? Did you make a statement, get all on your social medias and draft up a statement and denounce Ed Buck? Now I know GLAAD, their organization made a statement against Ed Buck. They said they denounced and stand with the men, but it was once they made one statement, but the baby, they've raked him over the coals. Of course, Eminem was notorious for saying homophobic things, and him and Elton John ended up doing a concert or a song together on the Grammys or something. He's been totally forgiven now. I would be remiss in thinking that the laws and the ways people operate here in the United States apply to us. I know that they don't. But the other thing that I thought about in regards to the baby, I don't know any of his music. I probably will if I heard it. Other thing that made me sad is that he should be able to rely on us. They are canceling him because it's white money. But if he had and I have something else to say too. But if we were strong, we could say, no worries. We got you. You should be able to speak your mind. Everybody else does. But the other thing is, y'all wasn't canceling him when he was talking disparagingly about black women and, violence and a lot of, the baby is on record for killing somebody. And I think he shot somebody else. So not trying to, throw dirt on his name, sound like he was justified. But it's like there's so many other things he could have been counseled for or taken to school for, but he didn't. So it's okay to call black people the N-words on records and women B's and talk about what you're going to do to them. Yeah, everybody's cool with that. But the minute you talk about a couple of other communities, then it's off with your head, right? So I'm going to get to you guys' comments before we get out of here. And the Pioneer says, like Brother Donovan talked about to us about loyalty a couple of months ago, do you think Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York, reporting her findings on Cuomo an act of disloyalty, I think she's in on the fix.
No, she's part of the Democratic machine. That's not disloyal. She's loyal to her party, just like the Congressional Black Caucus. They're loyal to Democrats, not Black people. It's Democrats first for them.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, for some reason they want Cuomo out of there. Just remember, a year ago wasn't he on time? He was thinking about being the man of the year because
on his way to being a presidential candidate.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden they want to take him down. They got all these women falling out the woodworks talking about he looked at them and he touched their faces and put your hand up his hand up under their blouse and touched their breasts. Okay, I just want to know this. You didn't feel his hand going up your because that's quite a ways till you get to a woman's breast.
Yeah, and let me ask you this real quick to cut you off. And you still went to the job. You're so traumatized now, but you weren't traumatized enough to leave the job at the time of the incident. And everybody reacts different, ladies. Don't jump on me for this. I'm just saying, if it was such a traumatic, I don't know of a person who's been through a traumatic experience and says, you know what, even though this dog just bit my ass, I'm going to go back into that neighborhood.
Because when the dog was trying to get me, I didn't go walking for 2 months. True story, y'all. But anyway, yeah. So again, I don't want to say none of it happened because, but I'm not one of those people. Believe all women, no matter what they say. Because I'm going to tell you, I would think somebody was running their hand up my blouse. Y'all had read about it. They'd have been like, damn, you heard what she did to homeboy in the office? He got to use all his sick pay. I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know. Everybody reacts differently, though. The Pioneer says, I don't support sexual harassment at all, but look at how the Republican women rallied around Trump and pretty much ignored his crime. But many Democrat women are calling for Cuomo's resignation. They did that to he was a senator. He was an entertainer too.
Oh, Al Franken.
Al Franken. And then they came back and said, oh, well, we were premature in our judgment.
And so you ended up losing that seat to hey.
Monet, how you doing? He says, oh my God, I was just listening to the first of this stream. They did this family bad. And this is so sad. May everyone associated with that case who had bad intentions get what they deserve tenfold. I absolutely agree. Talk about Amaya Braxton. So again, y'all, we have a Cash App here for her family. If you guys are interested in doing that, and Jafai says those white people are going to make sure the baby never makes any more money. Think about it. He never mentioned the LGBT in his comment. Never did. And somehow they associated that with them. So I don't know. I think he'll be all right. But, for now, he's going through it. The Pioneer says that this goes back to what Donovan has said so often, that the Democrats wimps out and refuse to fight. Not only that, they turn around and eat up their own. Republicans look out for their own to the death. To the death. I mean, you've seen white women who were at the rallies talking about Trump can grab mine. But I bet you the same women that was, look what he did to Clinton did to Monica Lewinsky.
Bill Cosby did this to me. I want revenge.
Go, Joe. How you doing? He says, good evening from Brooklyn, everybody. And Jafai says, would any of you like a shot of Deuce Cognac? I'm getting my Friday on. I know I said that wrong. That sounds pretty good.
Do say Cognac.
Go to show you how I don't get out much. But sure. And Pam says the baby is another case of selective outrage. As they said, a term I heard, clout rage. People are jumping on it for clout, And Anita, you say, so does this mean his is a black phobic? Could be, but a lot of people have also said it's buck breaking. We're going to break him all the way down. We're going to make him apologize 50-11 ways. Until pretty soon him and Lil Nas X are hand in hand on the stage, right? And let's see here. Anna, he says, Cuomo disrespected Trump and Trump is mad. He told Trump not to come back to New York. Has Trump been back to New York yet? He hasn't been back. And Steve said, Jimmy Swagger said he just watched. He didn't have sex. Probably, I don't know. And Fight for Black says, Donovan, look at the Bill Cosby accusers. Yeah. And he says that Cuomo's Italian, they are touchy-feely. Yes. And he put out a collage or a montage, rather, of him touching and kissing everybody, whether it's men or women, in like a greeting type of thing, not like, It was, so he was saying, that's just what I do to everybody. I didn't mean anything by it. So Pioneer says, you're absolutely right, Queen. These sellout rappers can brag about selling dope, killing other Black folks all they want, but insult a member of the Alphabet League and all types of apologies are demanded. Yes, indeed. But you know what? Again, I said, can't be mad at them. They got their stuff together. We need to get our stuff together where we have that kind of power. That's the power Dr. Claude Anderson was talking about. Get our money up. Let's move as a unit, and we can have that kind of power too. They have the power. We don't. That's the only, really, one of the only differences between us, right? Dark Matter, how you doing? Says, I'm late. Was this topic about the young Amiya Braxton hit by a car in her yard? Yes, it was. So you can go back and watch it. We actually had her mother on, and she gave us the details and stuff about the case. And so very interesting. We want to make sure we keep her story in the forefront so we'll never forget about it and eventually get justice. Fight for Black says, no, Queen Demetra, not Lil Nas Bussy. I'm just saying, I mean, it's probably in the works as we speak. And Sax of Light says, well done to you, Donovan, for making sure you chose applicants from our people when you are an Air Force officer and sat on the pilot board years ago. My mother did a similar thing. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, and I was unapologetic about it. I told them straight out, hell no. Well, why won't you let this person get on the board? They're white. Period. Done.
We got enough. Absolutely. And yes, indeed, Dark Matter. And the Pioneer says, this was a way of neutralizing Cuomo. He is an alpha male with a lot of charisma and was the biggest threat to Trump 2024. Yeah, there's definitely a conspiracy going on. Will he survive what they're trying to do to him? I don't know. I mean, if I was him, I wouldn't go anywhere. Because, really at this time, anybody could say you did anything. I mean, really, I could say Donovan reached up under this table and touched me. Now, how is he going to do that, obviously? You know what I mean? But do you believe me because I'm a woman? And Jafai says, Mario Cuomo, the father of our present governor, started the Year of the Child, quote unquote, program. All pregnant women, regardless of income, gets free Medi-Cal for up to 1 year after the birth of their child. That is awesome. So, I mean, it sounds like they were doing some good things. Of course, his brother Chris, is on CNN. It has to be pretty difficult to hear his colleagues reporting about his brother. And Curtis, how you doing? He says, the way American politics is going, the people probably shouldn't get upset about reach around when the politicians are already reaming everyone without even a kiss. Jafai says, Donovan looks guilty. So, yes, I believe you. See? It's horrible.
Wait, it's horrible. You're right. It damn was. For me.
I'm going to kill him. So, anyway, y'all, we're going to get out of here. We'll see you guys on Sunday for the Demetra K Show. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but I'm sure it will be interesting. Thank you, Facebook and YouTube, for being the other side of the conversation. And thank you to Marcus Guyton for everything you do behind the scenes. And Donovan, what say you?
Yes, and Sunlight, I will add you as soon as I get off of this channel. And I want to remind you guys, please, if you got $1, $2, either take a thing off of weed, please let's get Justice for Amiya and donate there. And if you haven't done already, please become a member of this channel and subscribe, because it does take some resources and things to get these shows to go. So if you guys got a little time, hey, we're going into a pandemic. So you're going to set yourself up so you have your programming right. So you know how on Fridays you're going to be doing your thing. This is the perfect time to set up your subscriptions and stuff and get that done. But we appreciate you guys. This is why we do this show, because we make you guys part of the show and we learn just as much from you guys as you guys do from us. So again, have a safe weekend. Keep your head on swivel. They are killing Black people out there.
Yes, indeed. And we love you guys too. Be safe. See y'all on Sunday, 5 p.m. Central Time. Peace.